All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our town meeting tonight, March 18th at 7:04 p.m. I'd like to call our meeting to order. Um, Let me start with a roll call. Ward 1,
Here.
Ward 2,
Allison Page is here.
Ward 3,
Councilmember Thea Emirates here.
Ward 4, here, and Mayor is here. And now I'll invite everyone to stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
On our agenda for this evening are we don't have any presentations. Under the consent agenda, we don't have any minutes this evening. We do have the department operation reports, which include the town administrator and public works report, the treasurer's report, public safety and code compliance. We'll then go into the mayor's report, council members' reports and concerns, resident comments. Under action, we don't have anything under unfinished business. Oh, we do, sorry. We have the right-of-way permit ordinance under unfinished business. And then under new business, we have the budget introduction. And then we are going to be adding under new business, the resolution R-09-2025. It's a resolution of the Mayor and Town Council of Colmar Manor to accept MNC PPC project charge recreation funding and amend the FY 2025 budget for recreation expenses. And actually, that's the agenda for this evening. I'd like to request a motion to approve the agenda.
Councilmember Emirates, I'll make the motion to approve the agenda with the addition of resolution R-09-2025 under new business.
Funny roll second. Is there any discussion? Okay, so all in favor say aye.
Aye.
No abstains, no nays, so we're good to go. Before we get started, I'd actually like to, I need to sign this, but obviously we are in Women's History Month. And it dawned on me that we are an all-women council.
Yay.
So, actually, Ms. Melinda, if you could read this, that would be Councilmember Mendoza, if you could read this.
Town of Colmar Manor proclamation, whereas women of every race, class, and ethnic background have made historic contributions to the growth and the strength of our community, state, and nation in countless recorded and unrecorded ways. And whereas women have played and continue to play a critical economic, cultural, and social role in every sphere of life in Colmar Manor, working both inside and outside the home as caregivers, innovators, educators, leaders, and trailblazers. And whereas women have been leaders not only in securing their own rights of suffrage and equal opportunity, but also in the forefront of social movements to create a fairer and more just society for all. And whereas, despite these invaluable contributions, the role of women in history has too often been overlooked and undervalued, underscoring the importance of honoring and uplifting their achievements. And whereas the theme for Women's History Month 2025, Women Who Advocate for Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion, recognizes those who strive to eliminate barriers and create opportunities for women of all backgrounds. And whereas the town of Colmar Manor is proud to recognize and celebrate the many contributions of women to our community and to encourage all residents to learn more about and acknowledge these contributions. Now, therefore, I, Monica Casanas, Mayor of Colmar Manor, do hereby proclaim March 2025 as Women's History Month in the town of Colmar Manor and urge all residents to join in this celebration and recognize the extraordinary achievements of women, past and present, in shaping our society. Signed and entered this 18th day of March 2025. Yay, thank you.
Yeah, so I just want to say that I am honored to work alongside all of you, and I'm honored of all of the people that have come before me, all the council members and all the women in our town that fight on a daily basis for equality and for equity and are very active in our town. For Amelia, who's part of our rec committee, that's always showing up and showing out for the town. To Ms. Blue, who's always active with the senior club and with the neighborhood watch. Ms. Doretha, Ms. Vivian, with well, they're both former council members, but with the community gardens, Miss Buffet, who was mayor and is also very active. Am I missing anyone else? Yeah, so just thank you to all the women and those that I couldn't remember to think of, but just thank you for everything that you do and continue to do for our town. Okay, so are there any questions in regards to the consent agenda? Is there anything that anybody wants to pull out or has questions about? I'll go ahead and just take a minute to give you all a minute to take a look. The only thing I have to say is, Chief, I really appreciate the breakdown that you have, the year-to-date crime comparison. Knock on wood, that number is lower than 2023. So I just want to thank you and all of our officers. And just, I want to remind people that if you see an ATV driving around town, if there's a parking issue, if there's some suspicious activity by anyone, call the police. As a reminder, we don't have 24-hour police. So you please make sure to call if it's not an emergency, the non-emergency line. If it is an emergency, call the emergency line. But just remember that we have police, and anything that you see, please call the police. Does anyone have any other questions or anything that they want to pull out?
Councilmember Emirates, I just want to confirm, we're having a separate discussion on the draft FY26 budget. That's not part of this treasurer report, correct? Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Oh, Mr. Beeden. I didn't realize that you were here. Okay. Okay, if there are no questions, nothing that anybody wants to pull out in the consent agenda, I'd like to request a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Councilmember Melinda Mendoza, I'll make that motion stated.
Fanny, okay, I second it. Is there any discussion? Okay, no discussion. I'd like to request that we all vote to approve the agenda. All in favor say yay.
Aye.
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 Any nays or abstentions? None. Okay, good. Thank you. Great. So I'll go ahead and share my screen so we can go into the mayor's report and the council reports. Just bear with me for 1 second. All right, so in regard to the mayor's report, there are a couple meetings that took place that I attended. So we had the Maryland Mayors Association and their conference that just took place in Annapolis. I've been in Annapolis a couple of times since February. We had a Maryland Black Mayors meeting, and then we also have the Prince George's County Municipal Association. In regards to MMA and PGCMA currently is going through some reorganization. I am still committed to PGCMA, and I hope that everyone else is. But if you have any questions, feel free to ask. It's been very beneficial for me as someone that's new to elected office to meet and be around other elected officials. And this is other council members, other town staff, other mayors. And so for me, it's been very beneficial. In regards to our to administrative updates, just want to thank the interns. I feel like I don't thank them enough, but they've been awesome. We have lots of interns. We have some interns from the Bosco School, and then a couple of interns from, I don't know, what, the governor's, like his AmeriCorps type of thing. Okay, so I just want to thank our interns who help. And lately, we really needed that help because many people in the office have gotten sick. So just having them there has really, really helped us. So thank you to our interns. Also, in regards to the administrative update, Animal Welfare Committee has been really awesome. I just want to thank Abigail and Crystal and Leslie and Sunny, everyone that's been involved for helping kind of get this off the ground. And they created a brochure that we can now use in town. So I just want to say thank you. And that's really how I feel our community should be working. So this is a nice model that they're creating. In regards to initiatives and projects, this evening we're having dinner with a doctor in the other room with MedStar. And it's the first one that we're having. And I'm just so happy to see so many people there and so many people that are interested in taking care of their health and learning more. So we're looking at doing this on a monthly basis. And it seems like people are having a nice evening together. So I just want to thank MedStar. I want to thank Ilhan, Greg, everyone that has helped bring this together. Fanny for helping make the salad tonight. Everyone that's helped make this evening a success. And again, I'm talking about the Animal Welfare Committee. They're on a roll, so I think the momentum is building, and they want to continue working with a Cat's Life Rescue. I believe not just the Animal Welfare Committee, but all of our other committees have submitted their budget request. So that's something that we'll all be seeing in different line items. In regards to parking, I'm excited to finally be able to tackle parking. I'm trying to think of some creative ways that we can either report or log any parking issues that are taking place. I've told the chief this, I tell everyone this, sometimes I feel stupid calling the non-emergency line over a parking issue. I'm interested in finding some type of a quicker internal way to kind of report these issues. And I'm sure that other residents would be interested in doing that too. The Literacy Lot, we're getting prepared to kind of kick off the spring and summer season. So we're teaming up with El Poder de Ser Mujer again. She has she has like a big network of different entrepreneurs and people that sell food, people that sell other like items. And so getting her and all of those small business owners to come and use that lot to give it life and keep it going throughout the season, I think is super exciting. Some of the upcoming events, we are having our community yard sale on the 29th of March, and I've been promoting this throughout the area. So anybody that wants to attend, we're having the community yard sale at the Laracy lot, which is a lot next to the KFC. And I think we're charging people who don't live in town $25 and people who do live in town $15 to have a table to sell their goods. So I'm going to participate, and anybody else that wants to sell, look in their basement and see what they have, just come out and set up a table. And anything that's left over, if you don't want to take it back home, we're going to try to see if we can donate it to like Goodwill or Value Village, something like that.
Oh, say it starts at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
10 a.m.
Oh,
to
it
1.
starts at 10 and I think it goes on
One.
till 1. In April, we're having a couple of Earth Day events. So we're having an Earth Day event in Colmar Manor. Cito and Sal, who are part of the green team, have decided that they want to have the second Saturday of every month be our cleanup day in town, and that happens to fall on the 12th of April. And I asked them if we can incorporate it into an internal Colmar Manor Earth Day, and they said yes. So I believe End Time Harvest Ministries with Reverend Addison will be here in the community gardens. Our town administrator, Mr. Holcomb, has purchased some like planting pots. And then I want to plant some flowers in different areas in Colmar Manor. So we're inviting everyone to come out to just
What
beautify
time?
the town and clean up. So I think on the flyer I put starting at 10 a.m.
Every,
For this one, it'll be 10 a.m. I'm not sure. I mean, they usually start around 9. I just didn't feel like waking up that early that day. Yeah. We're also going to have Tales and Trails on April 5th, I think, is a Saturday.
Yeah.
So we're inviting any pet owners to come out and walk around town with us. We're trying to see if we can get someone that can show us how to walk our pets responsibly on a leash. And then we'll go into the Colmar Manor ball fields and do one of those trails. We also have our egg extravaganza, which I think is on the 26th of April. I'm not sure, but that's our Easter event, our spring event. So make sure to come out to that. As I mentioned before, we're having the Laracy lot is going to start getting busy again. And then I want a code enforcement workshop. I'm not sure. I don't think we're having it in March, but I definitely want one in April if possible, Chief Stone. And with Chief, I also want to see when we can do our next bike ride. I don't know when we said we would do it, but I want to. That bike ride was a lot of fun, so I want to do it again. And then obviously we have Mother's Day, and then we'll have ice cream with the mayor. And just keep an eye on the newsletter and our social media and website for all the dates and times for this. And then some photos. I want to thank our town administrator and the staff that came to the National League of Cities and all the council members that came. It was my first time going to this. I liked it, except for one person that was there. Not to get too political, but anyways, it was great to be there and meet elected officials from around the country and to be a part of some really interesting workshops. I attended one in regards to affordable housing. I think Mr. Holcomb attended one in regards to safer communities. Yeah. And just some more pictures of NLC, and that's the mayor of Laurel, Mayor Sidney, and the mayor of College Park. We celebrated again this month. El Poder de Ser Mujer had a Women's Day event here in town. They brought different speakers and different community resources. So it was a nice event to kind of get some information about how to take care of your mental health and how as women to build our confidence. It was nice to see women and their partners there. It was a really pretty event. And I'm glad that she's done it here for the second year in a row. This picture here is of some of the women that I say are really active in town and have been, a lot of the things that I've done, I haven't been able to do if it were, I wouldn't be able to do it without them. And that includes Elsa, Jackie, Fanny, and Sara Campos. So it was nice to recognize them at this event. And then these are photos from the MMA event. So we toured and we visited our delegates and our state senators. And then we just had conversations about different topics. On the right, we were talking about AI and how different towns are using AI. So it was interesting to hear how other towns are using that technology. I want to thank Ms. Bethay for inviting her dance troupe, her tap dancing troupe for Black History Month. They were fabulous, and they really made me want to learn how to tap dance. I thought they were great, and so I just want to thank them, and I want to thank everyone that helped coordinate our Black History event. We had three. We had an open mic night. This one was the cultural night. And then we had a movie night. So thank you to everyone who came and participated and has been a part of this. I went and read a book as part of the If I Were Mayor contest that MMA has. And so that's me reading a book at my daughter's school. I cheated, Cesar Chavez. The kids are great. They were really, really cool. You have to go out and read to a fourth grade class, and it's always a lot of fun to do something like that. And these are some photos from the meet and greet that we had for all the pet owners and furry pets that live in town. And also furry people. It was a lot of fun.
Furry residents.
Yeah, furry residents. Four-legged furry residents. And I attended, Chief and I attended a retreat, like a half-day retreat that the state's attorney put on in regards to obviously like legal issues and whatnot, to give us a report out on what she's been doing in Prince George's County. The state attorney, who is now going to be our county executive, Aisha Braveboy. And finally, we went to Annapolis again with Chispa. So one of our town residents, Morena, works for Chispa, and she's very involved in green initiatives for Maryland. And so we went and we advocated on certain bills. It was really nice to have a large showing from Colmar Manor. Councilmember Sophia went too. And we got a chance again to just be present and have all of these elected officials know who we are and see our faces. So, and our youth mayor, Justin Rodriguez, was there. So I'm just really proud of him. He brought his grandma. It was really cool. And yeah, I think that's it. So I'll go ahead and now turn it over to our council reports. So first up is Ward 1.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have a lot to report out. I just wanted to reiterate again about Happy Women's History Month. I'm very fortunate, absolutely fortunate to have such great women in and around my circle. So March is Women's History Month. This month serves as a time to honor the achievements and contributions made by women throughout the history of the United States and beyond. So this is an unknown poem. In every unknown author, it's a poem by an unknown author, sorry. Yeah, unknown poem. In every challenge, she stands tall, her spirit strong, never to fall. Courage in her every stride, with grace and power by her side. A woman bold her will unshaken, in her strength, dreams awaken. In her smile, the world can see a fierce spirit, wild and free. So that's for all you kick-ass women out there. And that's it, mic drop.
Thank you, Councilmember. Ward two?
I'd like to reiterate, Happy Women's Month. I think women, is it working?
No, mine is.
I think women should be celebrated every day, 365 days of the year. I think that's how important we are.
Yes.
So for the Ward 2 report, I'd like to say that it was my first time also attending the National League of Cities Conference from March 10th to March 12th. It was in DC. And some of the, as you can see, some of the classes or discussions I attended were America's housing comeback. And everybody recognizes the lack of affordable housing and how we could go about making more housing and more housing affordable. It really is a big initiative. Then I attended a class called Federal and Local Partnerships, then Streamlining and Strengthening Federal Transportation Partnerships. I really feel like if we had better public transportation, we wouldn't have such a parking issue in Colmar Manor. And then the last class I attended was PFAS, our group of man-made chemicals, and evaluating how PFAS treatment technologies. And then the last day, Wednesday, was Heal Day, and I had a chance to visit Representative Andy Harris. He's a Republican that represents Southern Maryland in Congress. Senator Chris Van Hollen, he's a Democrat, represents, well, he's a senator. Senator Angela also Brooks, I got to see her. It's her first time being a senator. That was exciting too. And I have been asking every council meeting to please contact me with any ideas you have or any comments you would like to make about the budget. We are currently working on our budget. And I think it's what, should be April when we do it? April, June?
Well, we're starting now, so we have a draft.
Yeah.
And then, really, from now until June is when
Yeah.
people have the opportunity. They can actually do it whenever they want to, but we'll be voting on the 2026 budget in June.
Okay, I also delivered flyers to just about every house in Ward 2. I did say it was a 2025 budget by accident on my flyer. It's 2026 budget, of course. And I've only had one person in Ward 2 that gave me some input on the budget. So thank you. That was yesterday. Again, I'm just going to let you know my phone number is 301-461-9122. And my email is pages, that's pages like pages in a book, APAGES @colmarmanor.org. So please contact me with any ideas, any suggestions, any comments that you have about how your money will be spent for 2026. Thank you.
Thank you. Ward 3?
Yeah, just a couple things to note. I do apologize for the oversight in not including Women's History Month as a bullet point, but certainly do want to recognize it as well. And particularly to echo Councilmember Mendoza's point, I think having a strong and supportive community is so important. Over the past year, I have greatly expanded my network of cisgender, transgender, and non-binary femme folk in my life. And I truly cannot fully explain how literally life-changing it has been for me. But I am so extremely grateful to be surrounded by these remarkable people around me and so many others in my life. Now, as far as the posted items in my slide, first and foremost, want to announce for anyone who has not seen it yet, who has not had a chance to go by, Robert Yost Park is open again at the corner of 42nd and Lawrence. The park went through a total revitalization. It's spectacular. It's really beautiful to see. Yeah, and I mean, comes with so much hard work and dedication from our town administrator and so many on the municipal staff, as well as Kaboom, the organization that we partnered with. I've already seen plenty of families and kids out there, and I hope people continue to enjoy and revel in these public spaces that we create, especially as the weather is getting nicer. Next item is dinner with the doctor, which happened moments ago. It is in fact still ongoing, but this evening we had the first in a series of events where we are bringing healthcare providers to the town to speak with residents, help educate them, provide blood pressure, glucose screening, things of that nature. We have food available, and then just a lot of helpful information, making sure that folks are aware of their health and aware of the resources around them. So if you weren't able to make it out tonight, I really hope that you will come out for one of the subsequent dinners with doctors that we hold. Next item, I already kind of hit on this. Spring has arrived. This is fantastic news. I have been so desperate and eager for the warm weather, for the sun, to get out of the winter slump. And so, the pro of that is really that it's getting so much better to be outside. It's very delightful. People are out and about. It's great to see kids playing in the streets again, people out in the parks, people up on the trails, all of that good stuff. Obviously, an unfortunate negative of that is that pollen in this area can be so intense. Allergies have been really brutal. I've seen it in my partner, a lot of friends as well. And so please just make sure that you are taking the opportunity to enjoy nature, but that you are also taking care of yourself and recognizing your own needs and limitations, and that you don't overdo it. Also, we're making progress on the FY 2026 town budget. We have the introduction of our draft this evening. It will be open for a few months until we vote on it in June. Please continue to come out and provide input on what you would like to see. We have a lot of ideas, but they may not include what you would like to see in town, and we won't know what you want unless you tell us. And very last thing, just wanted to note that there are new speed bumps going in around town. I've been very excited to see this. I'm glad for there to be more opportunities for road safety and enforcement in town. I understand people have so much going on in life. They need to be places, and they need to be places immediately, but it is really important to make sure that we are adhering to speed limits, things of that nature, just creating a safe space in the neighborhood. Like I said, it's been great to see kids out playing in the neighborhood again, and they can only do so when they are safe. And so I'm glad to see things changing in town. I know we're going to be working on another sort of green intersection. We're going to be working on additional wayfinding signage and all kinds of things to continue to improve on this. But yeah, so just keep your eyes open for all of the various things coming. We have those stop sign cameras that are fully in effect at this point. And so please make sure that you are vigilant of your surroundings for yourself and others. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Ward 4? All right, so first of all, I want to start with the constituents' concerns, initiative and concerns. I just want to, I want people to be more mindful of other people's property. Please respect the property. If you need to get something from the other side, whatever, just ask, go around, ask them if you can go and retrieve whatever you need to retrieve. I have few complaint about people messing with the fence, destroying the fence because they're trying to get something from the other house. So just please, don't go over, don't open any hole on the fence. Go knock on the door and ask permission to get in. Also, if you see something suspicious or, like a car parking in the same spot, the same space or place for so many days a month, go check on the resident, check on the person, see if they're okay. Because when I walk around the town, I see car parking in the same spot with the same thing, and that concerns me because we don't know if the person is okay or something happened or what's going on. You see the same car, the same place with the same thing, so just check on them and make sure they're okay. Also, one more thing on this part. Concern.
we know the space outside on the street are not part of their, it's not part of their residence. That's a public space, anyone can park in there, but I think it's 48 hours, 72 hours, 48 hours? Okay, so after 48 hours, please move your car around, but don't keep your car in there. I know some people have some health issues, they cannot move the car, or maybe they can find someone to move the car around. But just remember, the parking spot, this parking space outside your house on the street is not part of your property. So don't fight for that. Don't fight. I got a few more. I maybe one day, Gray and Monica and Chief Stone want to come with me and walk around the town like I do around my neighborhood. I checked my time. Sometimes it's 7:30 in the morning, and sometimes it's at 12. So I'll let you know when, which one you want to pick. I do twice. I attend. But this is part of the activity that I attend. I went to the National League of City conference. It was really nice first time. It was really great, and I enjoy a lot. Monica, thank you, great, thank you. It was great to go there and listen to. I went to few of the conference and everything. It was nice, yeah. Few people, but it's that we didn't want to see, but we saw it. But anyway, I also I participated in a annual, what was that? The Women's Day that it was that we did here in the town with Sagrario. It was really nice. Sagrario, like Monica, like the mayor said, she have a lot of connection, and she's a great person. She helped a lot of people to start their own business. I mean, she is awesome. And I want to say thank you to the town staff. They finished the East Garden, really nice. Yeah, I went there already. I saw that they had the fence and everything, and then we had the 500 gallons of the tank, right? The tank, really nice. I like it. And also the police town, they're doing a great job policing the street, policing the kids, in the morning and also in the evening. I always see them outside, like they stop, the bus stop right here. As soon as they leave, they go to the next stop. And that's great. Thank you so much. Miss Blue, she can, I know she's here over the other room, but I think she's doing a great job with the senior club. I've been here twice already, just to look around and check and everything. There's a lot of people, a lot of senior here, and she's doing a great job. Yeah. That's all I have.
Thank you so much. And I actually also want to say thank you to the council members for sending me your reports. I didn't even have to ask you. I didn't ask you, and you did it. So I just really appreciate it. Like, it was really cool.
You were upset. I was like, oh no.
No.
Didn't even send a message.
I was like, I better do it before she calls.
I honestly was just so like, it just made me, it was really cool because I didn't even do mine yet. So, but I appreciated seeing all of your reports and having you send them over. And I hope that everyone appreciates them too. Like, you all put work into this, and I just want people to see that we're doing stuff. So, but thank you. Cool. So the next item on the agenda are resident comments. We don't have any residents here at the town hall. I think we have some online. So anybody that would like to make any comments, just raise your hand and we'll call on you. Just unmute yourself. No, I don't know what I did. So I don't think anyone has raised their hand. Okay, we can come back because we're doing really good on time. So I'll go ahead and just we'll come back to resident comments if there's anything that comes up when we're talking about unfinished business or new business. Just obviously give some time for any comments. So I'll go ahead and turn it over to our town administrator in regards to unfinished business.
All right. Before you is the resolution 04, 2025. This is the right-of-way permit ordinance that would authorize, this has been in discussion now since May, I guess it was, of last year. Wow, it's been that long. Yeah. But this is the ordinance that would allow the town administrator to issue permits for work that's done in the right-of-way, including but not limited to curb cuts or driveways. Provides for the process, but also clarifies, if there's a decision that's made, they can, a negative decision made towards the person applying for the permit, they have recourse by coming to the council still. And so it doesn't necessarily just end with the town administrator. So this had already been presented before, so it is up for a vote if you so choose to do so.
So I'd like to actually add to that former council member Trevante Jenkins was the one that suggested this. So it was really a great idea, and I just want to just give him a shout out for asking for this. I think it's definitely going to cut down on, in a way, like the politics of it, but then we don't really need to be here voting on whether someone can get a curb cut. It feels like it's more of an administrative thing. So, so thank you. So I'd like to request a motion to approve this ordinance.
Allison Pages, Ward 2, I move to approve ordinance 0420042025.
Councilmember Emmerts, I'll second that motion.
I'll go ahead and open it up for discussion. Is there any discussion on this? Okay. If there is no discussion, I'd like to go ahead and request that we vote. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Thank you, yes. So for anyone that's online, that is a town, or anyone that's online that has any questions about this ordinance, if you'd like to ask a question now or make a comment, feel free to just raise your hand and unmute yourself on Zoom. Okay, seeing that we don't have any comments, I'd like to now go ahead and request that we call a vote on this. So all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any nays or abstentions? None. Mayor votes aye. Motion, ordinance passes. Okay, great. All right, next item on the agenda is new business, which is the budget introduction. So I'll go ahead and pass it over to. Oh, okay. I'd like to request a motion to introduce the budget for 2026.
Councilmember Emmerts, I'll make that motion as stated.
Council Melinda Mendoza, I will second that.
And then do we just open it up for discussion and then Mr. Baden presents it? Is that how this works?
Vote to introduce it,
Okay.
and then we go into discussion.
Okay. So we're just gonna vote on introducing it. We're not approving it. We're not doing any of that, okay? All right, so so all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any nays or abstentions? None. Okay, great. So I'll turn it over to our treasurer, Mr. Baden.
Thank you, Mayor. So first off, I thought I would just give a quick summary of how the budget is set up so that as you are going through it to review it, it will hopefully make more sense to you. So if you turn to the budget that's in your packet or the copies that I sent over the weekend via email, you'll see there's basically a 6-column spreadsheet. This is set up in the same format that you're used to seeing for the monthly financial report, in that the first couple pages have the projected revenues, and then the following pages have the expenses, projected expenses for the year. Our fiscal year begins July 1st of one year and goes until June 30th of the next year. So this will be the budget for fiscal year 26 that begins July 1st, 2025 and goes to June 30th, 2026. The columns are set up so that the first 2 columns or the first 3 columns relate to the current year's budget. So if you're, looking to generate a budget, you usually look to see what's currently happening, you look to see what's happened in the past, and then you plan for the future based on that. So I've tried to give you enough information in these columns so that you could see what's currently happening in the current fiscal year. So the first column shows for each revenue and expense account that we have budgeted for fiscal year 25, how much money we've collected to date, how much money we've spent to date on the expense side, and then the original or the budget as approved through February for the projected revenues budgeted and the expenditures budgeted, and that would be your second column. The third column is taking each one of those line items and making a best projection of what the revenues and expense will be for each line item by June 30th. So we could see how well we think we're going to do this year, whether we will have a revenue or a surplus or a deficit.
Excuse me, the parentheses what do the parentheses mean again?
Well, and there are no parentheses in this budget because you're not showing a variance between any accounts. I do see, yeah, there's a small one. It means that for that, under the credit card processing, the $69, it's basically a negative revenue. So we collect money when we...
Negative, positive, please, parentheses.
You're talking about the 4101? Is that the account you're looking at, 4101? Credit card processing?
I'm just curious, what do these mean, these parentheses?
So
Should
we're
only be
not
one.
there yet.
Oh, you're not there yet.
So right now we are on.
Are you on the budget or are you on the treasurer's report?
Yeah, that's treasurer's report.
Yeah, so the budget is near the back of your packet. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I didn't see.
There we go.
Treasurer's report. Okay.
All right, so that's the document I'm giving the overview on, which is titled Town of Colmar Manor FY 2026 Budget Draft 2, 3/17/25. That's the date that I made those changes. And the reason it is Draft 2 is because I had a first draft and then I reviewed that with the town administrator. We made some additional changes. So just for my information more than anything else at this point, I want to make sure we're working on the most recent draft. So for you, it's really your first draft, but for me, it's the second draft that I've been working on. But don't let that confuse you. So this is the current draft. As I was saying, I just reviewed what the first 3 columns of that report show you. The 4th and 5th column show actual revenue and expense for the past 2 completed fiscal years. So for fiscal year 23 and 24, the revenues and then the expenditures. And then based on analyzing that information including information from the town administrator, any input from the police chief. I've come up with what is the first draft of the fiscal year 26 budget, which is the final column. So that is really the budget that you are going to be adopting by June or in June, based on the conversations and discussions that take place between now and then.
Excuse me, can you explain the third column again? It says estimated FY 25 actual.
So for each of those revenue and expense account, I've gone through each one of the revenues, each one of the expense accounts, and have projected where I think we will end up in each of those accounts for the revenues and the expense. So for real estate tax, the first one, we budgeted $1,060,480. We've received to date $1,024,347. And by June 30th, I believe that we will collect $1,056,469.
So the word actual, I could scratch it out. That's an estimate, correct?
So yeah, it's above that, you see it's the estimated fiscal year 26 actual. So I'm estimating what the full year actual will be for revenue and expense. So you could do that for each one of those line items. You could see personal property tax. What have we collected to date? $43,476.22. What did we project in the budget? $78,402. Where do I think we'll be at the end of the year at June 30th? $76,000. And those, are my best guess at this point based on the data that we have. Obviously, could change up or down.
And what is the PCB settlement?
That was something we got last year. It was a one-time payment. It was based on the lawsuit that was filed in federal courts. And it was actually for contamination in California. But it relates to PCBs, I think, is what it is, which is a toxic contaminant. And we received $17,414 because we were part of the class action suit. I think just about every municipality that was bordering some type of watershed received some settlement from that suit. So that's not something, you only see that in the fiscal year 23 column. You don't see it anywhere else because it's not anticipated we will receive any additional monies for that. So before I get into the fiscal year 26 budget, what I'd like to do is give a brief summary of where I think we will end fiscal year 25. And, I believe, from my best guess, that we will end the year with about a $22,000 surplus. And, that is very good because for those of you that were here when we prepared this budget, we anticipated using surplus to balance the budget. We increased taxes last year. We anticipated using about $37,000 in surplus, which is money we have accumulated over the years. And we also anticipated using about $111,000 of ARPA funds to pay for the town administrator. During this year, we had a couple revenue sources that really weren't budgeted for at the beginning of the year, which are the speed camera revenue and the parking or stop sign camera revenue. And, it's anticipated that from the speed camera alone, we will net about $200,000 in revenue.
Have we gotten anything yet?
Yes. If you look on that first page, down almost near the bottom, you see account 4272, speed camera revenue, red speed. You see that line item?
Okay, on the first page?
First page, 6th line up from the bottom.
The red light camera violations?
Account 4272, speed camera revenue, the one above that stop sign violation.
I got it.
We've collected $125,870.
Yup, I see my money in there.
Yeah, me too. For how many months?
That's only like 2 months. Oh,
2
no,
months.
that's more than that. Since September.
And may I ask one other question? The remains of the ARPA, is that 62,832, or we have no more ARPA funds?
We've got $248,706 of ARPA funds because for this year, we anticipated using 111,000 of that. But because our revenues have exceeded what we had budgeted, we technically didn't need to use any of our surplus to fund the general fund or the town administrator costs. And we end up with about a $22,000 surplus. So we did fantastic. The year's not over, but I don't expect that to change. So
That's 248,600 what?
$706.
706, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, round of applause for that.
So I just want to understand, is that money then ultimately just going to be relinquished back to the federal government because it has not been used?
No. So for our purposes, we are calling it ARPA funds, but we have spent all of our ARPA funds in accordance with the regulations by December 31st of 2024. So we've substantiated everything we need to do to keep the monies. From our record keeping side, instead of saying general fund surplus, we're calling it ARPA surplus, just so that it doesn't get commingled with the two, but that's just for our record keeping.
So what happened was, instead of, you had to commit the money by December 31st, 2024. So we reported that this was operations, was it lost revenue or?
Yeah, we designated the ARPA funds as lost revenue, and by doing that, you could use it for any general government purpose. So we basically reported that we did this through council action before you were on the council. We designated certain operating accounts in general government and public works and police, and we said, we use the ARPA funds to pay for those costs, which was a legitimate use. And that's how we substantiated it. So basically, we could now use the ARPA funds to fund future years' operating costs because we used it in the past for eligible purposes. And I'm just using the terminology here because people, we've kept track of it separately. And the idea is that with the remaining 248,000, we would use that to continue to fund the town administrator's position. And so in this year's budget, we're not quite there yet, but if you look at the second page of the report,
The budget or the treasurer's report?
No, the budget that we're working on. So if you look at page 2, you'll see account 4650, about a third of the way down.
Yeah.
And you see ARPA reserved in the far right column, 111,438. I'm saying that is now going to be a revenue source in the fiscal year 26 budget. And if you then flip to page 10 of the report, you'll see that same 111,438 under
Where are we at
account
here?
6,300.
Yeah.
And that is funding, if you look at the accounts above that, the town administrator cost for 111,438. So we're basically now saying of that 248,706, we're putting 111,000 in the budget again to pay for the administrator costs, and then we'll have the difference between the 248,000, 111 to to be used next year. Or if you all decide you want to do something else and not fund the town administrator out of ARPA funds, you could do that too. You have the authority, in the budget process to really do what you want with that money. Right.
And our unreserved funds is 896,550, is that it?
That was in fiscal year 25 projected. The current fund balance at July 1st of 2024, the beginning of this fiscal year, was $930,856.
So with that money, we can use it for anything. Can we use it, can the town use the money for not to increase the property, the tax property?
We're not going to.
For this fiscal year, and I'll get to that when we go into some of the detailed line items. This budget is prepared with keeping the rate at the constant yield tax rate, which means that we will not generate any more revenue this year than we did last year. And the tax rate itself will actually go down. The residents won't see any increase because their property value is increased. So, but we're lowering the rate enough so that it offsets that increase in the tax rate.
What's the tax rate?
So we're lowering what exactly?
So the current tax rate on residential property is 81 cents. For $100 of assessed value. And because the value of the property has increased, we lower the tax rate. So when you apply the tax rate to the increased property value, you generate the same amount of revenue, and that will bring our rate down to 75 cents. So that is the rate that we're going to be proposing.
Oh, 75 cents.
Yes.
Do you also have commercial rates?
Yes, the commercial rates are currently 84 cents. And the constant yield rate is 80.77 cents, 0.8077.
But we didn't lower the commercial rate, right?
We're not really lowering any rate. The actual rate we will approve is going to be the constant yield rate, which it's a little hard to understand, but if your assessed value goes up and you kept the rate the same, then your taxes would go up.
Right.
So the rate the assessment went up. So in order for your taxes to be the same, you need to bring the rate down.
Right.
And that's called the constant yield rate. So
That's called the what?
the constant yield tax rate. So
Everyone
that
talked at one time. What was that? County?
constant yield tax rate.
Okay.
So that the amount of revenue you generate this year from taxes will be the same as last year, even though the assessments went up. So the budget as prepared, if you look at the first line of the budget, real estate taxes,
Right.
the estimated for fiscal year 25, the third column, is $1,056,469. If you look at the far right column, it's almost exactly the same, $1,056,697, because we're keeping the rate the same. There's a little fluctuation because values might have been, a piece of property might have been added or reassessed or something like that. So we're basically keeping the rate constant, means no new taxes for the residents.
So we set the property tax rate? I thought it was the county or the state.
We set the municipal tax rate.
Okay.
The county, WSSC, Maryland National Capital Park and Planning, Maryland Stormwater, whatever that is, the WSSC rate. I mean, there's like 10 different rates on your tax bill. We only have control over the municipal rate.
And that's what you were talking about when you said from 81 cents to 75 cents. You were talking about the municipal rate.
Yes,
Okay,
on real property, and then the commercial rate that went from 84 to 80. 84 to 80 was the commercial rate. So I guess we went through where I projected fiscal year 25 to end, and then if I go through some of the line items in the far right column, which are the current year's budget, and just give you a little more information what some of those are and, any of them that are changed, by a considerable amount. So the real property tax we just really discussed, and the only thing I was going to note there is that it is the constant yield tax rate that I'm using in that figure. Going down to account 4160 rental income. I'm projecting about a 20,000 increase in rental income over our original budget. So original fiscal year 25 budget was 90,000. We're bringing in, it looks like close to 110,000 this year. So I kept the rental income at 110,000. If you go down a little further, we touched on this briefly, but the speed camera revenue, count 4272, based on it being a newly implemented program, we've been seeing the revenues quite high. It will go down somewhat over time, but I'm still projecting a $420,000 income from the speed camera. But there's an expenditure side associated with that as well. So if you could flip to.
Yeah, how much do we owe the company, or what percentage?
Yeah, that's where we're going to flip to page 8. And if you look about halfway down the page to account 5957, speed camera expenses, you'll see in the far right column a figure of 163,800. So that is the amount that we are paying the camera operator for operating those cameras and processing the payments. And then there's another component that we could possibly owe to the state, which is the line item under that. And it's called due to state speed cameras. In the far right column, you see $40,040. We're only allowed to keep up to 10% of the town's annual revenues in speed camera. That's all we could keep. The rest has to go back to the state.
Is it revenue or is it operating budget?
Revenue. So what I told Greg is build the grants out big time before the end of the year, because that will increase our revenue.
So what is our town's annual revenue about? Up to
If you look at the bottom of page 2, $2,812,712. And that is actually the budget that that would be the amount of the budget. Now that technically that I haven't got all the reserve funds in here because I want you to see the budget without the reserve funds. I did include the ARPA reserves here because that's going to fund the town administrator position, but there's additional surplus funds that we will put in the drafts as we go forward. Okay. But for this purposes, I didn't have it. So to answer your question, $2,812,712 is our projected revenue. 455,000 of that's grant revenue, and 111,000 is reserves.
Could I ask
the grant revenue we get to include towards that 10% figure.
Okay, so the 10% of the town's annual income, but is it 10% before or after they deduct the fees that we pay the company?
It's 10% before. That's why we break out. That's why I'm breaking out the gross revenue on the first page as a revenue, the 420,000, because I want to boost up the revenue because
I was hoping we would get like 700,000, but
well, you're only going to get 10% of your revenue. So what it ends up coming to, if you take the 420,000 from the revenue, you pay your expenses of 163,800, You pay back the state $40,040. Those two figures I just showed you. The net income from the camera will be about $216,000, and that's what's showing in this budget. Now, we'll go up or down depending on how the revenues play out during the year, but based on the budget as proposed now, I'm looking at about $216,000. So the next item under the first page, under the speed camera revenue, is the stop sign violations. I haven't seen the monies from that yet, but Chief Stone has given me some of the information under that, and I think Councilmember Mendoza's paid in about $144,000.
I was just telling Chief that, I paid one violation was due yesterday. The video they have on there, it's just, I was like, oh yeah. I did
Had you
stop.
smiling?
Pretty much, you can see like, it's very clear.
I don't know if it's, if I can ask this question, or I can say something. But people are trying to pay those tickets online, but I'm not able to pay.
Oh, I paid it. Yeah.
Online.
You know an answer to
I
that?
have this first-
She said people are trying to pay online and they can't.
I don't, I will find out. I haven't had any concern with that.
Maybe the person doesn't know how to do it.
That could be the only issue that I'm aware of that there has been is that mailing address for the mail-in payments there was a little error in it, and some of those are being returned.
Oh,
wow.
I put mine in the mail.
wow.
We have the correct address and then getting that mailed back out quickly, but I haven't heard of an issue.
Online, it's, you have to have the violation number, and they also have a PIN. So I think if you don't have those two, it might make it, yeah.
Does the
hard.
violation number, is the violation number and the PIN on the violation they
On-
received?
yeah,
Yeah,
on
that's
the-
the way I've seen it.
And for the stop sign cameras, it's a 72,000 every year for, that we pay back as an expense? Or do we get to keep all the revenue there?
There, we get to keep it all after we pay the vendor for their share. Now, I haven't seen any revenue come in, and I'm not sure, I haven't looked at the agreement in detail, so what I've included in the budget now is based on Chief Stone's information to me of how many violations they have seen and processed. Like I said, I haven't seen the revenue come in yet. That's where I projected the 144,000. I think it's probably going to be more than that in the beginning. And I've put the expense in at half of that. And I think as we go through the budget process, that number I'll refine based on actual figures. And I need to see the final expense side of it, their final agreement with the vendor. For me,
And how is that
I
set-
couldn't locate that.
How is the expense with the vendor set up? Is it like a set fee or percentage? Because you have 72,000.
Right.
Is it a
And like I
fixed-
said, that will get refined because I could not find a final draft of the agreement on the shared drive when I was putting this together.
Okay.
So that figure will definitely be revised, but do you remember the cost sharing on it?
No.
Okay. So I just threw in 50% because I think that's high, and I'd rather err on the high side in the first draft, and so hopefully that will come down. But I did put 72,000 in there on the revenues or on the expense side, and that's showing again on page 8, just under the speed camera line items. The only other items that I wanted to point out on the revenue side, as most of the other accounts are pretty similar year to year, is the bottom of page 2, the second half of page 2. You'll see the account starting with 4680 grant revenue. And then it lists out about 10 or 12 different grants that we have. And those monies are broken out between fiscal year 25 and 26, with 455,000 being projected to receive in fiscal year 26. And then we've taken these same grants on the expenditure side and broke out how we think we'll be expending those funds. So, you don't really need to go in any detail. We know those are the grant amounts. It's the timing is probably going to change more than anything. If we're able to get a grant done quicker, then those revenues and expense are going to drop into the current fiscal year. If it takes longer, then it'll drop into the next year's fiscal year. So these are, Greg and I went over these in quite a bit of detail and did our best to project which period they're going to fall in. So starting on page 3, the expense, I'm sorry, page 4. Page 3 was just, mine was a 1 page. That's got a little different. I got a bigger format. Yeah, so page 4 starts the expense budgets. There's not a whole lot of differences. Maybe some cost of living increases or things like that, based on values of items going up. So in the general government, not a whole lot of changes between the 2 years. Fiscal year 25, total general government expenditures on page 5 is $371,445. Fiscal year 26 is $390,000. So, about a $19,000 increase. In the salary accounts for each department, we've included a 5% COLA or 5% increase, includes, part COLA, probably part merit. And then there are a couple of employees that we have adjusted for some equity pay adjustments, meaning bring them up to where they probably should be. And if that's something you want to discuss, you'd probably see me offline or Greg, because we don't want to discuss salaries, individual salaries in the budget process. But they're not huge amounts, but there are some adjustments for that. And then also in the workers' comp side, because workers' comp insurance is related to payroll, they've actually gone up quite a bit. So when you look at the workers' comp item for each of the departments and you compare them to the current year, they will go up. And that's because we have had some claims over the last couple of years, and your claims stay on your rating for 3 years. So you're going to see about a 25 to 30% increase in the workers' comp rates, and that's due to some claims that we've had to pay. So we could go into more detail on some of these individual line items as we get into budget discussion, but I'm going to skip to page 6 and just point out that here you'll see the payroll, tax, and benefits for the general government employees. It also includes the health and life costs here. The second and third items on page 6 are for all employees. So that includes health insurance for all staff, life insurance for all staff, and as in just about every year I know of, those rates do go up. So, we're showing, and there's also one employee who is going to elect to get health coverage who doesn't currently have it. So when you see the cost going up from $80,619 in the current year to $91,425 for health insurance, a large portion of that is for an employee that's actually coming on to the plan who wasn't on previously. Under there, next major category under that is the senior van operations. Not any big changes there. It's mainly in the cost of living and the salary line item. And then under code enforcement, same thing. Not any big cost increase there. There is some code expenses for Comcate that are not going to be in there anymore because they're being paid out, or those services are being performed through another software their service. Is that what it's called? Okay, Greg will tell you why they're not there. Okay, talk about it later.
Dan, would you mind putting the microphone closer to you? Oh, thank you.
Sure. Yep. So the code enforcement expenses, have gone down from 4,900 to 2,000. That's because there was a software component in there that we were paying an annual fee for, which we will not be paying for going forward. So that was the main reason you see it go down from 4,900 to 2,000. Going on to page 7, you have the Public Works Department. There's a new line item we put in there, 5790 trash cans for residents, $2,010. That's for exactly what they are. I think the last meeting, town administrator had said that, we basically have given out all the spare carts that we have, so we need to purchase some new ones. So that is coming out of that line item. Also, the street lighting electric, you'll look at the fiscal year 25 and you see 14,000, and fiscal year 26, 29,400. You're like, wow, that's a big jump. Well, it really isn't. Included in the fiscal year 25 figure was about a $13,000 payment we received from Pepco for what was an overpayment of past year's electric costs for the streetlights. Because they came out and they did an audit of all the lights in the town. They said, oh, you have less lights than what we're billing you for, so we're going to give you 3 years back the excess. But then after they did that, they came back recently and said, some of those lights that we took off need to be put back on, which are the lights on Bladensburg Road. Originally, they said those are state highway lights. During the audit, and they gave us credit for it. And then State Highway, when they tried to assess those charges to State Highway said, wait a minute, those aren't our lights, they're the town's lights. So I think Greg has done that with the other town administrators, in Bladensburg and the other port towns, and they're basically being told the same thing. So it doesn't sound like there's anything we do. We were paying for them originally, so there must have been something that said we were supposed to, and their auditors, whoever came out and did the work, sounds like they probably gave us the credit incorrectly from what Greg's conversation were with me. So he may be able to spread any more. You have any more comments for the say, can we fight the street light thing? I think you've done that, right? Yeah. So the other line item in Public Works you'll see an increase for is the waste collection. So you see an increase from 123,000 to 141,000, which is the last item under Public Works. We received notification from the landfill that they are going to increase the disposal rates. And they told us what they were actually saying they were projecting to go up for other residents, not the municipalities, January 1st. And then the municipalities would see an increase July 1st. So I've included that increase in here, and then Bates is also entitled to a cost of living increase July 1st of each year, which is the contract anniversary date. So the increase from 123,000 to 141 is my best guess on what the increase in tipping fees or disposal fees and what the increase in the cost of living will be for next year. We'll wait and see. I don't know when the county is going to confirm the rates. They just said, here's what we propose for your planning purposes, but I've not seen anything. I don't know if it has to do with the approval of the county budget. Probably does. And then for Bates cost of living, I think I put in there 5%, which is about what they tried to pass through last year, which we fought against. And, they haven't come back recently for that. Community Center Town Hall, most of those expenses, again, fall in line with the prior year. Biggest item in there is our debt service for the bond or loan for this building, $154,260. Under public safety on page 8, in the salary line item, there, has the regular cost of living increase, but it also has a promotion to a lieutenant position that chief has asked for. Not sure if that's going to be in there, but for now, he wanted to put it in there for discussion and possibility for the next year. I think that was about $7,000. So 5960, the salary police. So it's gone from 383 to 397. Part of that's the promotion and part of it's the COLAs.
Part of it's what?
The cost of living adjustments. Going down a little further, you'll see a new account 5987 variable message sign for $14,000. That was one of the asks from the council. That we put into the budget. Under that, you'll see a vehicle purchase line item. This, obviously 14,000 will not get you a vehicle, but my proposal is that instead of financing or instead of paying for the vehicle outright, that we finance it over 5 years. And the reason for that's twofold. One, it lowers the cost year to year. So we're not funding a $60,000 cost this year, but by the town either buying a vehicle every year or having a loan for a vehicle, you get a credit off of your county tax bill. The residents will, and it's not huge, but over a 5-year period, technically the town will save a few $1,000s. So one, it saves us a few $1,000s. It'd be a small amount the residents will get off of their tax bill because the tax differential formula, which is a whole nother conversation of how that's calculated, comes into play. So that residents will get a benefit, and that benefit they have will be greater than the amount of interest we would pay on the loan. So it's my recommendation that we finance this vehicle so that for the next 5 years, the residents will get that little credit on their bill, and we don't have to come up with a huge amount of money to buy a vehicle right now.
And what is the 14,000 here?
That's to pay the loan that we're going to finance the vehicle with.
Okay, so has that been done already?
No, that's
Okay.
being proposed in this budget. If you all say, well, we don't need a vehicle or we're not going to finance it.
Okay.
One, if you don't get a vehicle, that comes out altogether. If you say, hey, I'd rather just use our surplus and pay for the vehicle now, then that will increase to
Right.
$60,000, I think.
I thought the chief got 2 vehicles donated from Annapolis and that we retrofitted for the police cars. Is this a different, it's not a police vehicle, right?
Do you want
What
to
vehicle are you
comment on the
talking about?
details for that?
Yes, excuse me, we were very fortunate and, well, we lost one vehicle during the past year in a traffic accident. And we were very fortunate to get 2 vehicles donated by Anne Arundel County to replace the one vehicle essentially. The bad thing about it is that they're older, both 2016s. So they're essentially 10-year-old vehicles now. So they're almost end of life. So I am requesting a vehicle to be added into the budget this year.
Okay, so the vehicle that you'd like to purchase is a police car, correct?
Yes.
And which officer is that for?
No one in particular hasn't been
I thought
decided
each
just
officer had a car.
yes, it does.
Okay.
But that hasn't been decided yet.
Oh, okay. And other vehicles for the public safety are okay? The trucks, the whatever, the
For Public Works,
public works, yeah.
they have not asked for anything additional that I'm aware of. Yeah. So nothing budgeted for that this time.
Okay.
And then last item under the public safety budget is the fire department donation. We have budgeted $2,000 and paid that for fiscal year 25, and some of the budget discussions requests, the council had asked that thing be increased to 5,000, so we're showing that at $5,000 for fiscal year 26. Moving on to recreation, at the bottom of page 8 and the top of page 9, the holiday event line item, it's been increased from 9 to 16,000, and that's based upon request of the rec council to increase it to the 16,000. And then under that, Bladensburg has asked that we share in the cost to perform for the fireworks for 4th of July. They were asking us to help fund $3,000 of that. So we put that in the budget. The clubs and committees, the community garden only asked for 2,800 this year. It's been close to 4,000 in the past. I'm surprised at that, but that's what they've asked for. Maybe some of the capital expenses or things that have been done there don't need to be done anymore, or at least not for this year. The green team, we've changed the name of that to Green Team / AIB, which is American in Bloom, and added $1,500 for the AIB, American in Bloom portion of that, which is their visit where they come out, and it's at a workshop, or I don't know exactly what they do, but.
So American Bloom is a grant.
No. So American Bloom's an organization that we were part of,
Right,
and
for the rainbows.
they come here and they do a tour of the town and the facilities, and they write up a report. And that's that $1,500 is part of that. And we split that cost with Edmonston,
Okay.
and so that helps reduce how much that we're paying out because they come at that same week between the two towns.
And the fireworks, and then under there you have the clubs. We were on the clubs and committee, so you can see the amounts that are funded for those line items. Then the page 10 has the town administrator, which I've basically went over before. And then under there are the grant expenditures that I also had discussed when I talked about the revenue side. So with the fourth page. So with the total expenses, including the grant expenditures, it's $2,777,584, which is $35,128 less than the revenue. So you have more money to spend if you like. And that is why we've included in your next 2 pages, 3 pages, kind of a summary of the town council priority list. So as you go through the budget process, you may want to look at some of these suggestions and decide if you want to fund any of these. Or if you want to fund any of these in lieu of something that's already in the budget. Now would be the time to do that, or during the budget discussions is when you would want to do that.
All the priorities, okay.
So we don't need to go through those now, but, I wanted to point out that we do have, and I think it's actually, well.
What's this?
I think the excess is more than that. It is. There's actually, because the grant is a timing thing, if you back the grants out, we actually have close to a $49,000 surplus currently. So that figure is not totally accurate because it takes the grant revenue and expense into consideration, and that's a timing thing. So you could either cross that out for your purposes and say, I've got 49,000. Are there any items that are in the current budget as proposed that you'd like to see more money funded for? Do you want to put in any of the additional priorities that you had come up with on those 3 pages? And then, of course, anything that I've put in there is just based on, information known now. You could do what you want with the budget. You could take expenses out, move them around, do something else. That's your prerogative over the next couple months until we adopt it in June. And then the last 2 pages of your packet, there's a little more detailed information on what makes up those line items in the budget. So like account 5120, dues and subscriptions. The dues we're paying for are American in Bloom for $1,125, Maryland Municipal League $2,500, ICMA for $4,900, SHRM for $264, Maryland Black Mayors, Maryland Mayors Association, PGCMA, National Association of Latino Elected Officials, and MCCMA, which I can't remember what that stands for. So if you look back at line item 5120, that hopefully ties back into that figure. So 5120 dues and subscriptions, yep. On page 4 is 5,231, which ties into that schedule. If you go down to IT costs, a little further down, 5195, that's 11,000, which is Alpha, which is our IT support company. The INET is the intergovernmental networking system, which we're part of. It's a county-wide internet system, and that also provides our internet service, our emails. We process through there, and then other costs, which could be, a new computer, additional support from Alpha or another organization that's outside of the maintenance agreement. Office expenses, 5,250, 13,265. Shows you what some of the major costs are, monthly costs, and then a general office supply line item for 8,500. Telephone, 10,992, which is really 2 components. One is McEnroe, which is the company that we bought the phones from, and their service, as well as Verizon, which is separate from the McEnroe service. So total is 10,992. And then account 5835 for the website maintenance and communication. These are E-code to update the code online, Zoom, Odo, which is the is that the texting software now? What's Odo?
It's like.
So can you
three
speak
different
closer
things.
to the,
Management type of,
okay.
like a CRM.
Okay. Yep, and then Microsoft licensing for 1584, Adobe licensing 165, the website maintenance of 3,300, and okay, Easy Texting is the texting app. So they come to 9,452. And I don't need to go through all these, but you've seen yourself. And the last one, 6016. That should be changed to 16,000, which is the.
Could you please talk into the microphone? I can.
The last item on there is the rec council holiday events, which currently shows as 9,000, but on the actual budget, it's 16,000. So you could
What
cross that
page are you
out.
on?
And I have a breakout of
The last page.
Oh, this one here?
and each of the committees have submitted a budget, so I have those. Those aren't necessarily fully reflected in this yet. That's going to be at the work session. We'll discuss that.
So I have a question. The animal welfare committee is requesting money for a cat's life rescue. Should they include that in their budget, or is that something that we would include like in the town
No,
budget?
they can.
They can? Okay. So there are some things that I know that I would like to see, I have questions about. So for example, council retreat, line 5091. we don't have anything in there for 2026.
Okay.
Correct. We have not discussed that in any of the budget work sessions we've had.
I know.
So that's why it's not in there. So
Okay.
any ideas you have, let's talk about the work session though.
Okay.
Because this isn't necessarily, we're not supposed to be like, we can, there's nothing stopping you, but this isn't a committee meeting.
Yeah, this is
So-
really just get, you updated on what's in there. And then based on, you take the next couple of weeks to review what we have here, look at your priority list. And really come back for the next work session and next meetings with proposed changes. What you would like to see put in the budget, taken out of the budget, increase, decrease, whatever the case may be. Or say, hey, that's a great job. We don't need to have any more budget meetings, whatever you'd like to do. You got about 2 months, before we adopt the budget. So plenty of time to make changes. We will have a public hearing at some point. We'll try to put that into the schedule. That's required by the charter. We don't have to do the separate advertisement for the constant yield because we are not increasing the rates unless you decide you want to increase rates. So as proposed now, we don't need to do that. If for some reason, I don't think any of you do, but if you want to increase tax rates, please bring that up early in the discussion process because there is a separate advertising process we have to do to be in accordance with the state requirements.
So my other question is, have we received any feedback from residents, from people filling out the form?
We're up to 4.
Okay. I mean, that's better than 1.
We were at 2, so we doubled it.
Oh,
So we are offering residents $10 gift cards to Walmart for the first 10 people that fill out the survey. So far there's
And where
4.
could they get the survey?
It's on our website. It's right at the bottom. It's emailed out every time we email about a council meeting.
Is it on WhatsApp too?
no, but I'll put it in WhatsApp.
How much is the gift card?
I think it was $10.
$10 Walmart gift card. Come on, give us your opinion of how you'd like your money spent.
It's a very short survey.
Very short survey. $10.
Increase it.
Yeah, I mean, $10? Oh, no, go on. $10 nothing.
We're also just asking for their input, which doesn't necessarily require any money, so $10 is a lot more than they necessarily could be given. I mean, I'm also content with us just making the decisions for the budget. We want to include our residents, but if they are uninterested in providing input, then we can make the decisions.
I don't think they will, for $10. They don't do it without.
Oh, come on out anyway and give us your input.
Oh, sorry. So I have this is not related to the budget.
And what is this?
Can we
I have a
save that
question.
discussion then?
It's a little, it's kind of important. Both Fanny and I got accepted to go to a conference in May,
What
and
conference?
it takes place I think it's like the 4th to the 7th or something. I don't remember. When is it?
May 5th to the 7th.
May 5th to the 7th, which
What
coincides with our work session. So we want to reschedule that meeting if we can.
What's it called?
Yeah? All right. So do we do it tonight or can we just do it via email or how do you want to do it?
I'll have to have a vote on that today.
Take a vote on it? Okay.
Could you speak louder? Because I couldn't hear you.
I don't think they have a vote.
So we have, Fanny and I have been invited to go to a conference.
Yeah. We can just move the work session.
We'll move it to, you
Whatever.
could just move the work
Yeah.
session? Okay. All right. So that was it. Sorry. So I guess, all right, so if that's it for the budget discussion, can we move on to the next order of business? Okay, so the next order of business is the resolution R-09-2025, a resolution of the Mayor and Council of Colmar Manor to accept MNCPBC project charge, recreation funding, and amend the FY 2025 budget for recreation expenses. So I'll go ahead and turn it over to our town administrator.
Yes, so Councilwoman Ivy's office had put us in for a project charge through the county. So the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning, the Parks Department is required to put a portion of funds back to municipalities, give it back to municipalities that are providing recreational resources to help pay for those. And so Councilwoman Ivy's office put us in for it. We were approved up to $100,000 to cover recreation expenses. So with staff's help, we went through and looked at all of our recreation expenses, including support staff, my time, chief's time, any front office staff, and what they've done for at different events to help us get to a figure, including our recreation coordinator that we have, his salary, but also any supplies we've used, any of our holiday events, all of that. We came up with a figure of $70,495. So it's short of the $100,000 that we're actually approved for. So the resolution here is one, to accept the $100,000 in recreational funding, like we've done with other grants that we've received, so that you're accepting it as a council. But then it's also adding in new expenses to get us to $29,505 so that we can fully receive the $100,000 grant.
And do we have to add those in now?
What do you mean? So, so this is, yes, this is sort of urgent. That's why it's on, why I added it tonight, is that this is actually FY 25's budget. So they were supposed to, they're very, very behind on getting this all done. This is supposed to be from July 1st through now, through the end of June. And so this is, we're amending our current year budget so that we can fully accept that amount of money. And so what I did was I broke it between three of the main line items. After talking with the recreation coordinator, we discussed adding some, hiring some class instructors to actually teach things like volleyball, or to teach, not racquetball, pickleball, to get actual instructors in that can help with some of those activities. No, I don't think we can charge it, Dan. Maybe, I don't know. So that's what I put that money in, the $4,205 in there for class instructors. The $22,000 is for additional recreational supplies. Some of the decisions on what exactly those will be are forthcoming, but this is just amending the budget to allow us to buy those supplies. And then adding another $3,300 to the special events line to cover, I think it's going to be a huge expense, but I know the mayor's been planning a kite event. Some of those smaller events that kind of pop up from time to time. This would help fund that.
Okay, so if we accept this, is it strict that we have to spend those amounts? Like, what if we wanted the class instructors to get more money? I mean,
yes, so this is simply a budget, like any budget. It's a wish list. Yes, as this next couple months. Now, mind you, this is only money from now until June 30th. So as we're going through, if the recreation coordinator and the rec committee say, wow, we really have this idea for all these additional instructors we would like to get, and it's going to cost us $10,000, then we can amend this budget again to reflect that.
Okay, so it's 3 months.
But it has to be recreation.
3 months, we have 100,000, correct?
Well, it's covering $70,000 that we've already spent on staff time,
Okay,
supplies,
30,000.
events, all of that.
Okay.
Question, if that's reimbursing $70,000, effectively reimbursing $70,000 we've already spent, is that going to increase our net income at year's end by that corresponding amount? Okay, cool, awesome, good to hear.
And then we get the 10%.
And I will,
Sophia, you get that 10%.
So that surplus is 90,000.
so I will add that we are not guaranteed every year to get this funding. So I do not have a response for FY26 if we're going to be part of it or not. And part of that has to do with the fact that there wasn't a district councilwoman or council person, and that's the person that has to put us forward. So the new District 5 council member has to put us in to get the project charge for FY26.
It's so strange. This is great timing. I had one person in Ward 2 complain that we have too many events and too many holiday events. And she thought that maybe if there were 30 people or more, okay, but if not, it's a waste of her, money. So this is a grant to pay for.
Essentially, yes.
Yeah.
Can I make a motion?
Yes.
Councilmember Emirates, I'll make the motion to pass resolution R-09-2025.
Councilmember Allison Pages, I second that motion.
Is there any discussion? Okay, so let's go ahead and take a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Good. So that is it for the meeting for this evening. I'd like to request a motion to adjourn.
Councilmember Melinda Mendoza, I'll make that motion stated.
Councilmember Franny Roque, second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you very much. We are adjourned.
Yeah.
Yay. What time is it? Oh, it's